Greetings to one and all, it's your old buddy Jay here coming at you with another Countermeasures game changer. It's Monday, so it must be Zombie Day. Today I would like to take a look at a game that has been around for a little while, but nevertheless it is a good one. It is World War Z. Now World War Z is a third-person shooter which is developed by Saber Interactive and published by Mad Dog Games. It was released on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One way back in April 2019, and it is also coming to the Nintendo Switch soon, which is good news, because it's always good to get them onto as many platforms as possible. This franchise is it's been around for a little while. I did read the book, which is the piece of media that started it all, which was released way back in 2006, and the premise of the book is that there's been a zombie outbreak and everyone's trying to survive. So standard default setting for all kind of post-apocalyptic films and books. The only difference with this particular franchise is that the zombies are not your kind of slow shuffling, hiding in the broom cupboard kind of zombies. These zombies are ones that absolutely peg it towards you, because all they want to do is just increase their numbers. So famously, the film adaptation of that book came out in 2013. And it was with our old friend Bradley Pittington, who is a famous actor. You might have heard of him. And he basically tells the story of traveling from country to country, location to location, dealing with this crazy zombie outbreak. And these zombies are like super fast. So it's not the first franchise to do it. I think originally it was 28 Days Later that had really fast moving zombies, and there have been other games that have taken on that mantle. So games like the first person shooter Left 4 Dead came out several years ago and was incredibly popular, and had a similar premise, which is the zombies were particularly speedy and out for blood. Now this game is a cooperative third person shooter. Now you basically just log into your lobby, you pick a character to play, and you go onto the server and you get matched with 3 other people. So in total there's 4 of you, and you just basically go from location to location fighting off these hordes of zombies. Now as you can see from the screen here, I'm just messing around in the multiplayer section. Searching for players in this game always takes a little while, because it's been out for a little while and I'm not sure how. It's incredibly popular. It's been around for a long time, and they keep bringing new locations out for it. So the story isn't particularly that deep. You don't have to get into any kind of character building or any sort of deep lore behind this game, or this franchise, because essentially all they really want to do is give you a gun and stand you in front of a whole load of zombies so that you can go completely apeshit and mow them all down. Now what is interesting is that because there is no kind of plot other than there's this zombie outbreak, it does mean that you can have different levels in different locations. So for example, in this game you start off as one of 4 survivors battling through New York, and that takes you to different locations in New York, and then that moves on to Jerusalem, Moscow and Tokyo. Now when I first played this back in 2019, it's just loads and loads of fun. You're trying to keep your friends alive, you're sort of fighting off, as you can see here, these waves of zombies that run towards you, and it's just a lot of fun to kind of horde mode. That's been around in a lot of games for a long time, but for some reason this one just felt a little bit more kind of accessible to me. So I did find myself returning to it from time to time when I just didn't want to worry too much about the deep plot of The Last of Us, or worry about getting too emotionally involved in anything. If I just wanted to just hop in for 20 minutes and just blast a load of zombies, this was the perfect game for me. And then towards the middle of 2020 they actually brought out another location, which is Marseille, and that was also a really good campaign, and I've got some footage of that coming up in a minute. And yeah, I did really enjoy playing through that as well. So it's just fun to kind of hop in and hop out and just shoot zombies. I guess that's my remit at the moment, which is it's just simple, weapon management, etc., etc. And you essentially don't play the same character going from all of these different locations. You do select a specific character to that location depending on what level you're at, so that's quite fun. But some things do remain the same, which is as you go through the game you gain experience points, and those experience points allow you to modify your weapons, and that is something that stays consistent throughout the different locations. So you'll if you're particularly good with a machine gun, as time goes on you'll get a scope, you'll get bigger magazines, etc., etc. It's just all of the traditional Call of Duty mechanics that tend to hang out in these games, and it does really work. So basically you shoot a wave, you then run to the next location, you top up your ammo, and then you sort of set up traps, etc., and then you shoot the next wave. And while you're going along there are sort of also stragglers, so you've got kind of zombies that hide in various parts of the map that will just sort of jump out and grab you, and they're just sort of isolated by themselves, and then eventually each sort of end of the mission leads to a much bigger sort of a gunfight. Now the design of this game, I do really like the aesthetic of it all. It feels a bit realistic, but it's just cartoony enough that it still feels very arcadey, and I think that's something that sometimes these games sort of take themselves a little bit too seriously, trying to be too realistic. You're dealing with like undead zombies running around, let's not get too realistic, so I quite like the fact that it feels a bit cartoony, but yeah, it's also it's got some kind of connection to the real world. So in that respect, the look and feel, the feel of it, I do like the gameplay. So the actual look and feel of it, they've obviously spent a long time making the environments really interesting. You are going through, like here, you're kind of going through a kiddie's playground. There's later sections where you're, in other levels you're in, tube stations, and in Marseille you end up in a giant castle where you're fighting them all off at the end, which is really exciting. And yeah, I just feel like it's the locations and the design and creation of those locations is all it's all legit, and I do really like that. So you have 7 different classes to choose from, so as well as a character, your classes do transfer over as well. So that is a gunslinger, a hellraiser, a fixer, a medic, a slasher, and an exterminator. And the drone master actually is another one that I've not played myself, but I tend to just be the gunslinger, which is my default go-to. Now it has always been one of those franchises where it's not very deep, so that's fine. So that's why Brad Pitt fits into this quite nicely, I think. He's I'm not sure his acting skills are worthy of an Oscar. I mean, who knows? You've been around long enough, they'll give you one, I guess. So it fits in nicely with the lore of this game, and that's the overall kind of tone of voice of this game, which is just don't think too much about it. Let's just crack on and shoot some zombies. So you have different objectives. You have to collect things around the map as you go along. They try and tie in a little bit of story of what you're doing, of like you need to get this key to open this, or you need to protect this person while they're doing something important. So ultimately it just leads to you shooting more zombies, and as well as running zombies that kind of go ballistic and run at you, they do all explode in an interesting way. They come apart in different ways, which is quite interesting, and quite fun to throw a hand grenade into like sort of 50 of them, and they all just sort of explode in limbs and arms going everywhere, so that's quite fun. And then there are different zombies that run through this game as well. So as well as your sort of standard runners, you do have others. You've got one that screams, and he brings other zombies with him. You've got one that kind of shoots gunk on you, and that sort of prohibits you from being able to see very much, so you have to use one of your items to clear that up, and that's quite good. And there's also a one that they call the Bull, which is like this giant policeman that basically just, he's all in his right gear, and he'll just run at someone and pick them up and just incapacitate them, and then you have to save your fellow colleagues. And again, It's nothing new from Left 4 Dead, that sort of approach, which which is no bad thing. It's building on top of that, and those mechanics work for that game and they work for this game. So yeah, I mean, the reason that I actually decided to do a little review on this is because I saw last week that there's going to be an Aliens sort of Marines style game in a similar vein to this, where you're in a squad, out in space, sort of shooting aliens, and I kind of thought, oh well, that looks quite fun, and I've always been a massive Aliens fan, as all nerds are, so I think that's something that I was really looking forward to, but it doesn't come out till later this year, and I thought, well, if I want a bit of a fix, something that's very similar, this is the perfect game. It's basically exactly the same, and I would imagine that it's not going to be far off what the Aliens game is going to be, other than the Aliens will have just be soaked in nostalgia. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that one, and in the meantime, this has been a very good a game to sort of pick up while I'm waiting for that. So yeah, I think that's it. Not too much of a long one today. Just thought I'd sort of throw this out there. I definitely recommend that you check out this Mad Dog game, because it is very good. I do think that it's a lot of fun. Hop in, hop out, and play with your friends or with complete strangers. Me, I always like sort of third person games where I can just go through and not really speak to anyone, and you don't have to communicate with anyone in this game. You can just play alongside them without having to sort of constantly chat to them, which is something that I find constantly annoying in multiplayer games. And this game obviously handles that in a sort of it understands that, and it allows you to go through the game without actually having to speak to anyone. So who'd want to speak to anyone? So yes, with that in mind, I'm just going to wrap this one up, and I'm going to say that I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10, and I definitely would recommend that you go out and try it, because it is a lot of fun, like I said, and yeah, you get to kill waves and waves of zombies, which is always good. So with that, I'll say be good, stay safe, and be kind to one another. Cheers.